Main Street in Arlington is much like main streets in other towns, the main thoroughfare that goes through town. Arlington's Main Street, also known as Route 7A, is also one filled with history, and one that has evolved and changed since the town was first settled in the early 1760s. Bill Budde is a historian and the curator of the Russell Collection at the Martha Canfield Library. He recently gave a talk about the town's Main Street at the Arlington Common to complement an art exhibit there by local artist Ned Reed about paintings of buildings along the town's Main Street. We stopped by to listen in to Bill Budde's presentation about Arlington's Main Street a few weeks ago at the Arlington Common.
When we stopped referring to Main Street and started referring to Route 7 and 7A, we lost that personal touch. Main Street is something that we grew up with. Main Street has a lot more feeling and emotional feeling to that. Route 7A is kind of an abstract idea. And it doesn't convey a lot of what happened here on this main north-south route through Vermont, because it doesn't have the cachet. Main Street, people relate to folks, neighbors, and that type of thing. Route 7A, people think of passing through, and they don't feel rooted to those. So I think there's a number of things that have been going on. And the nice thing is it gives us opportunities to start addressing those and helping make some changes. Deming Tavern is on the corner of Route 313 and 7A today.
Isn't it right across the street?
Yeah. Look out the window. And that was built basically around 1780. Deming family lived there for many, many years. The interesting thing, again, that comes up time and time again, is that you look at these old buildings, they grow and they contract. The porch on this one goes around two sides, the south side and the road side here. They also added on to the north end, extended it, and then also a second floor. Over time, they took the porch off, and here in this photograph you can see the porch on the south side has been taken off, but you still have it on the front, on the east side. They minimized some of that addition that they put on to the north side. So they took it down a story and then it was cut off, maybe half. And they took the porch off. Another one of the old buildings is the Burdette Common, and that's not Burdette Commons, it's the rectory for St. James Episcopal Church, sometimes referred to as Burdette. And it's right down Russell Street. If you go down Russell Street, it's the first house on the block, right? But that's been here since around 1800. You can start to see, this is the town hall, and this is the Arlington Inn, the very first Arlington Inn. What's worth noting is the building comes out this way towards the street, and it had 3 porches, laundry hanging out. The Helping Hand, it started off, Helping Hand started off as the Bronson House, Fred Bronson House. And that was built around 1850. And it's kind of interesting because Garrow, I think it was Joseph Garrow, added on the front. And what he did was he added a structure on the front. And there's a better image here. This is what it looks like today. Yeah. And you can see, if you look at the side here, you can just see that old first building, the Bronson building right there on the side.
Can you go back a second to the first one?
And it's been added on to, oops, wrong one. It's been added on to. You know, that house has had the back added on, and they added on the second floor.
Wow.
But you can still see the shape in there. And it's really surprising. I'm not sure about this. intriguing because the roof line is different.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, I don't know anything about the Macaulay Associates, and I don't know when the building was changed. But when they did some renovation work later on.
We caught up with Bill afterwards at the Canfield Library for more background.
1761 is when the charter was issued, and people actually started moving in large numbers in 1764. Primarily along that Main Street area, but also along the main waterways where you had access to good sites for building mills and, you know.
So was Main Street originally like an Indian path or just a pathway, or how did it happen to be laid out there?
It started as one of the main north-south routes, and then a east-west route. But the north-south route was involved with the militias that were going between New England, Connecticut, and Massachusetts colonies up to confront the French up in the Quebec area. So a lot of people in the militias went back and forth through this area, and the trails became rather well developed after they originally started as Native American pathways and probably some animal trails through the woods that they wore down, and they were much easier to traverse than making a brand new road through there. We have reports of the capture of Fort Ticonderoga going north to lead the militias up there by Ethan Allen, and they went along roughly what is 7A today, but it was slightly more to the east. That really made people aware of what was out here, even more so than the French and Indian War. It was starting to be built up. People were starting to live here and develop. There was enough traffic going north, south, and east-west to support several inns and taverns. A lot of the product from Arlington, especially potash and marble products and grain and things, were taken to Troy and Albany along that Route 313 trail that turned into the highway. Going east, you had the Stratton Turnpike going over the mountain, which we now call Kelly Stand. And that was very popular. And there were a couple of popular inns along there too. That people remember with relish at this point. The Abel Hawley Tavern on 313, about a half mile down the road from the corner of 7A and 313. And then right on the corner, also across from the Deming Tavern, was the L. Nathan Merwin Tavern. And you have the early government of Vermont meeting in these taverns and making decisions about what we're going to or not going to do and how. I mean,
it seems like after 1960 or 1970, things have been more or less no major changes. Would that be accurate to say?
Well, I think the major changes have been the new Catholic Church, the modern Catholic Church, which was quite a discussion for many years. Also, the site where the Berkshire Bank and Stewart's are, there were three major buildings actually there that were taken down in the 50s and turned the whole facade of Main Street into something totally different. You know, a 3-story hotel next to the town hall, where the bank is now, is gone. There was a 3-story store next to that that is now gone, and then a little apartment building where Stewart's is now. And that just totally changes the whole feel of the street. You know, it's a much more modern feeling. Doesn't have that sense of place for many years. The other major change in my book has been the modifications to what used to be known as Paulin's Store, and is now the Arlington Variety Store. They have much more classical features that went back to 1850, 1860. more of the iconic door frames, windows, and shutters, and early craftsmanship that went into that building is just amazing. I think one of the other interesting parts of Main Street history that we don't appreciate these days is the industry that went on around Main Street and developed. One of the most remarkable ones to me is that the corner where the old Roman Catholic Church is, St. Columban's, is used to be a tannery. Used to be another tannery up on Fisher Road. Very popular in terms of making leather for people to actually use to make harnesses and shoes and all those accoutrements that go along with that. We don't appreciate that that was quite the business. It was really, an operation, an industrial operation here in Main Street, Arlington, along with a rope walk where the Burdett Commons is. One of the earliest businesses was making rope there. And the rope that was used to hang the Tory David Reddington was made there. Blacksmiths too. There were probably 4 or 5 blacksmiths within a quarter mile of Main Street. And those are all gone. We don't appreciate what actually had been happening here at that point.
For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.